Today, we're going to be talking all about loyalty programs for restaurants. Over the years, I've worked with thousands of concepts through our agency Dineline, and I've seen just about every loyalty program under the sun. Some of them work really well, but frankly, a lot of them do not. So here's the thing. This video that I'm going to be talking about today isn't about like which loyalty program is the best. It's going to be the gap that a lot of restaurant operators don't realize. The thing is that loyalty programs only ever capture a fraction of your guests. The majority of people that come in once, they pay and they just never enroll. And then what happens is you have no system to bring them back. And so that's what I'm going to be talking about in the video. So in the video, I'm going to show you how to close the gap. And by the end, you'll know how to turn one-time visitors into repeat guests, how to layer loyalty into a bigger retention strategy, and how our clients are tripling their guest revenue from retention while also cutting their ad costs in half. So this isn't a sales pitch. It's just exactly what we're executing on for the multi-location restaurants that we work with every single day. And if you're new here, what's up? I'm Jace. On this channel, what we talk about is actually what's working for restaurants right now: marketing, advertising, getting new customers in the door. So if you like that type of stuff, go ahead, hit that like button, subscribe, and let's dive into the topic around today's topic, which is going to be the gap between loyalty programs and what really drives customer retention. All right, so let's dive in here. But first, just want to tell you a quick conversation that I had last weekend. So last weekend, Brett, my business partner, and I were at the horse races in Gulfstream, Florida, meeting with a potential client and investor. His family owns over 50 Popeyes, plus a bunch of Auntie Anne's, Haagen-Dazs locations, and they're very successful in doing this at a big scale. Now, before I tell you the conversation, the funny part about the whole day was the whole event actually got completely rained out. Florida hurricane season, classic. If you live in Florida, you know what I mean. Anyways, in between dodging the storm, we had a really good conversation with this owner about the loyalty programs and what they were working on. And with the big brands, corporate push is almost always the same, which is like get guests onto the app. That's like the goal for all these big franchises, which is great because on paper makes complete sense. And why it makes sense is that you're avoiding third-party fees because you can get them to order from you directly. You can send them push notifications and really control the guest experience. But what I asked him is I said, okay, well, how many of your dine-in guests actually use the app? He didn't know. And when he finally checked, it turned out to be less than 3%. So that's the gap. The loyalty app itself is valuable, but if 97% of your customers are never enrolling, you're missing out on almost like the entire audience. So here's how I think about it is your guests aren't just like on the app or off the app. There's a funnel of guests from cold, warm, hot, and then there's like the loyalists at the bottom, which are the small percentage of people who actually download the app. But the top middle, which is the 97% who come in, spend the money, they don't enroll, and that's where most restaurants are flying blind, and there's the big opportunity. And honestly, if you have Popeyes, Burger King, Taco Bell, McDonald's, if you have all those apps on your phone, I think there's other problems to explore in terms of like the frequency that you're eating at these places, but I digress. So the real question is, okay, how do you capture those guests in between? How do you move them from anonymous diners to repeat guests to loyalty members with less friction? Because like going to say, download the app, there's a lot of friction there. People don't want to download another app. And so if you don't understand what I'm going to show you in this video, like you're stuck with exactly what this operator is telling me, which is their best way of getting customers in the door is spending $50,000 on a stadium banner, hoping sales go up. And look, I'm not here to hate on banners, TVs, or billboards, what we would classify as like old school marketing, but there's just a more scientific way to do this. And that's what I'm going to talk about in the video. So breaking down this video, I'm going to have it marked as chapters on YouTube so you can watch it. But first, I'll show you the gap. So there's the space between, like I said, the first time customers and the loyalty members, how much revenue usually gets lost there. Second, I'm going to show you what to actually do about it. In our case, we use our software Dishio to capture those in-between customers, follow up with them, and even push them into your loyalty program. And so this playbook works whether you're using Dishio or not. We're biased. It's our own technology, so we like it. Third, we'll layer in meta ads, and we'll show you the data that you're capturing to retarget your own guests guests, get them to come back more often while also potentially cutting those ad costs in half. And to make it real, I'm going to show you like a real customer right now that's a sushi chain in Miami that's using this strategy and how they're using it to shorten that gap. So that's where we're headed. Let's go ahead and jump in. Let's talk a little bit more about this gap because it's not as simple as customers are either, like I said, in the app or not on the app. Think about it as like that's a sliding scale. On the cold end, you've got people who maybe order Popeyes every once in a while. Very infrequent. There's not a real connection. They just get it whenever it's convenient. Then you got people who are coming in weekly or bi-weekly that clearly like the food, but then they never actually bother to download the app. And then on the hot end, you have a small percentage of people who are actually going to download the app. So these are people who are ordering directly. They're getting push notifications and you're engaging with them about all the great Popeyes perks. So the gap is like, the way I like to explain this is with e-commerce. So let's say you go to the website, you add something to your cart, and then you bounce without buying. Well, what happens? You see a pop-up for your email, then get hit with a cart abandonment reminder, like you're surfing the internet and then you like see an ad for the shoes that you're looking at online. They create a follow-up experience even though you didn't purchase because they don't want to lose you. So that's exactly what's missing in most restaurant loyalty programs. They only reward the finish line, but there's not really a system for catching everyone in the middle and nudging them to come back. This is what we're trying to accomplish here. So this is where the opportunity is. Next, I'll break down how we capture those in between guests and start building a system around them. So like I said, you can do this with a lot of different tech softwares, but we're biased because we created Dishio for this exact problem. But whether you use our software or something else, the principle is the same. You need a gateway in front of loyalty. The first step is activation points. So anywhere you can get a guest to scan a QR code, you've got an opportunity. So these can be table tents, menus, receipts, putting stuff into go bags, order screens, QR codes at the host stands, you name it. And there's really endless creativity when it comes to implementing this stuff. Now, where things get powerful is the smart routing aspect of it once you get people to scan. So you're not just going to go from like scan to loyalty. You're going to send them to what they actually want in that moment. So maybe it's sending them to an online ordering, joining a wait list, viewing a menu. And the key here is that every scan equals data. So just like the e-commerce example earlier, when a site follows up with you after you abandon a cart, we're capturing consented first-party data plus intent signals from those customers. So if later down the road, we want to push those people that have entered the initial system to the loyalty system, we can. But in my opinion, this is like the best legal way to capture that first party data and pushing them compliantly to what you want to get to them to, which is ultimately that loyalty app. So once you have that data, you can trigger automations based on visit timing, spend level, interest. For example, someone who comes in and spends $20 on lunch might get a bounce back offer for dinner. Someone who clicked catering gets a nurture sequence of other information about the restaurant until they book an order. So the point is, instead of hoping every guest magically downloads the app, you have a system that captures everyone to keep the conversation going. And I'll give an example here later in the video. Step 3 is, once you have this data, one thing that we do as an advertising agency is now we run ads. So let's talk now about how this type of strategy actually saves you money on ads, because let's be honest, if you don't have to spend money on ads, you don't want to. Ads are great, but they can eat into your margins. And if you want to spend money on ads, like you want those dollars to work as hard as possible. So here's where guest data can completely change the game. So remember all those scans and intent signals we were capturing in step 2? Now in step 3, we can take that data and stay in front of those exact same guests, all in the big platforms like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Google. And the difference is you're not just like blasting out random people who may or may not care about your restaurant. You're targeting people who you've already interacted with you. So they scan a QR code, they visited your site or engaged with your menu. We know that they're warm. That's why what I'm explaining works, is the cost per click drops. Conversion rates are cheaper, because to explain this really simply, it's like you're just showing ads to people who already know you versus like new people. All right, let's make it real with a case study from a small sushi chain in Miami. Now, for the sake of this example, I'm going to blur out some of the information on this just for the confidentiality of this customer. But I want to show you the steps to show you the gap or ways that you can take advantage of getting customers to buy from you without going through a loyalty program necessarily. So let's go ahead and roll through this. The first thing that you're looking at here is this is actually inside of Dishio software, and this is the start of a flow. And what a flow is the purpose of this is to get people to come back 3 times. So somebody might scan a QR code at a restaurant. So here you can see that it popped up. I'm going to be collecting this information over the top of a menu that somebody's interacting with at a restaurant. So what you're seeing here, this is happening on a customer's phone. Over here, this is what I set up inside of Dishio, so that way this customer can get that outcome, or this client can get that outcome. So they pop up, and then once I punch in my information here, so I'm gonna get this sent to me now to my phone where I can generate this code and download it. And then I'm gonna be able to save that to my phone. I'm gonna get an email to say this offer is available within 14 days. There's a 1 day before I can actually redeem this. And then when I come in and redeem it, I'm gonna be prompted to leave a review on either Google or Yelp. After that, it's gonna delay for a week. And then a week later, now I can invite this person back for our lunch. 7 days after that, this is the second conversion of this customer. And then the third conversion here is going to be now I'm introducing catering. Now you can customize this for exactly whatever your restaurant's needs are. But the thing here is that this person needs lunch, free Thai donuts sell really well, and they want to push catering. So we made all that happen in like one sequence of customer events. And so this is the opportunity that I wanted to explain as like the gap between just getting somebody on a loyalty program or like somebody buying from the restaurant. There's this huge space in between that can be taken advantage of. Okay, so in conclusion, hopefully you got some value from this video and can see how it takes advantage of guests who might not be on your loyalty program yet, but they're on the path to get there. And again, I'm Jace. I'm one of the partners at Dineline. And like I said, this channel is all about showing you what we're actually doing with our clients. These are real strategies that we're implementing with them that drive results. I want you to be able to copy these strategies and apply them to your restaurant. So whether you're a marketer working with a restaurant or an operator of a restaurant trying to learn more about what's working right now in the marketing world, then this channel is built for you. So hit like, subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video. Cheers.